Hi, Sagittarius. This is going to be your June 2020 forecast. It's good for the sun, rising, or moon sign of Sagittarius. As always, keep in mind this is a general message. It's not a personal reading meant for just one person, so it won't resonate with all of you. Check your rising, moon, or Venus sign as well. You could find messages there if this doesn't resonate. If you're a cross watcher, you'll have to reverse the roles. I will only read the message from the point of view of one sign, and I will be reading from the point of view of Sagittarius. I always recommend to watch for your own sign first, but it's okay to cross watch if you have a relationship with a Sagittarius. If you want a message to resonate with you 100%, book a private reading with me. The link to my website is in the description below. If you have any problems or questions about scheduling, feel free to email me, but I will divert you back to the website for scheduling purposes. It just makes it easier for both of us. If you're new to the channel, welcome, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when I read for your sign. Also, check out the link to my sister channel, Soma, Chandra, Libra. The link to that channel is in the description below. And I read for Libra, Sagittarius, and Cancer on that channel every 72 hours. On that channel, we hyper focus on love. This will be a general overview for the month of June, and it could apply to any part of your life. Okay, so let's get into it for you. The first message that came out of the Wild Unknown deck by Kim Kranz was fish. Some of you have been dealing with a Pisces because I have the moon here as well, or Cancer possibly, or you could have that in your chart maybe. And fish is about restlessness and a change of focus and being kind of lost in the current. The message of fish is the fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, movement, and more movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually it leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. When the fish is in balance, he's very adaptable and he travels well. When he's out of balance or in the reverse, which it came for you guys, it's distracted and it changes its mind often. So this could be about any situation in your life. To bring the fish back in balance, it is suggested to set a small goal and accomplish it. You guys are either in some situations in June where you've been distracted and you've been back and forth about what you want to do with a certain relationship or with work or maybe where you live. You've had a little bit of back and forth, or perhaps you've been dealing with a person who's been a little back and forth. From your oracle deck, I can't remember the name of this oracle deck now off the top of my head. It's really great. This was the one they wanted me to use. I got resilience in the reverse and surrender. And surrender reminds me of sort of a cross between the card of death, which is a Scorpio energy, but also the hanged man, which is a Pisces energy, where we have to surrender and see something from a different point of view and realize there are things that we just can't control and we have to let some things go, and just allow for a pause in our life to help us figure out exactly what we want. This resilience always reminds me of the Ten of Wands, where something has been a heavy burden and an extra responsibility, and it's been hard work to complete something, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders and doing it all by yourself. I think their advice to you for June has been you've been as resilient as you could be, but you've been doing it all on your own, and it's been a heavy burden. It's time to delegate and release something and let it go and surrender. Surrender to the how, surrender to the journey and not focus so much on the destination. You've been back and forth about something, or perhaps someone's been back and forth with you, and this has been a burden for you that you're being asked to simply release and surrender and give it to your own soul and to the divine, and time as well. Through time, more things could possibly be revealed to you. So in the center of it all for you, in June, I have the Hermit in reverse. Perhaps some of you have Virgo in your chart, or you have been dealing with a Virgo. The Hermit is excellent at spending time alone. He goes on a solo spirit walk. He goes within for his own inner guidance, and he searches his own soul by himself, with the Hermit. But in the reverse, we're either tired of doing that and we're ready to come out of Hermit mode, or perhaps we've been spending time alone and experienced some depression or denial, or there's been some withdrawal. You could be dealing with a person that way. I could be picking up on someone else's energy, but I mean for these cards to be you. The hermit has a hard time with his alone time. He becomes somewhat depressed and withdrawn. So make sure you are including your soul tribe and reaching out to people that can be there for you. But perhaps some of you are trying to come out of a hermit mode. All of us have been in hermit mode for a while. The challenge or the catalyst is this Four of Pentacles. I often like to see the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. Cards are more committed and more justified and better when they're in the upright. But this is one where it's often needed to be in the reverse. When the Four of Pentacles comes in the upright, first of all, it can be about a scarcity mindset and saving money, and being very conservative and needing to control something, but we hang on to it. We become curmudgeonous. We hold back and we're a miser, but at the same time, we won't let go. Sometimes we need to do that. But in the reverse, it's about shedding the old. You feel like you're losing something, but you do need to just simply let it go and open up your heart chakra. I'm seeing two cards of trying to let go of something that might be difficult. Watch for spending though. When the Four of Pentacles flips in the reverse, we're either dealing with a situation where someone's having financial issues, or they might even be around a person who's kind of greedy in some way. Just watch finances in June. But I see you guys sort of withdrawn and having a hard time dealing with something that you know you really need to just surrender and let go of to a degree. I think you've been changing your mind about it back and forth, or perhaps this person around you has been, or a situation like with work or a relationship, they're not sure what they want, and it's made you kind of withdrawn to a degree. I think the challenge will be shedding the old, opening up, and letting go, especially surrendering to a new perspective. Try to do what the message of fish says, which is just to set a small goal and take baby steps towards maybe rejoining the world, especially after quarantine, or figuring out how to better budget your time. Anything can be a pentacle, even emotions and sleep. Our own health can be a pentacle, but I think it's good to try to let go of something. What's driving you guys? Four of Wands in reverse to the Ten of Swords in reverse. So when I look at the whole spread, I can read it in a couple different ways. Some of you have been avoiding an inevitable, painful ending that you know that there's something you have to walk away from and just focus on the positive and forgive yourself and move on emotionally, and you're having a hard time doing that. But for some of you, you've been getting over something that's hurt you. It's the defiance over the defeat. The Four of Wands is about homecoming and stability and harmony and relaxation, getting together, building a foundation in our lives. In reverse, it's very much about transition and a conflict with someone else. Some of you have been moving and that hurt, or some of you do have to make a transition in your life because there has been conflict and there has been instability. And yes, it hurts, but you know you'll get over it and you know that you'll be okay. Transition and pain do happen in our lives, but it's always darkest before the sun rises again. And she is walking away towards calm and peace in this deck, in the Light Seers Tarot, which I like. So that seems to be what's driving you guys. In the past, I had the Ace of Cups and I clarified it with the Three of Cups in reverse. So I think that you started something, a relationship of some kind that you felt a lot of creativity and a lot of love for and a lot of compassion for. There was a lot of healing. But I think that if it involved other people, that might not have worked out, because this is, in the past, you might have been working on loving yourself and independence, being more independent, spending time alone, rethinking your soul tribe, possibly rethinking dating more than one person at a time. And you focus just more on loving yourself. But I think what I first heard when I saw the combination was you really had a lot of love in your heart to give, but you ended up just having to give that to just yourself. Because with Four of Wands here, which is about a homecoming, and the Three of Cups can be very much about friendship and healing. I think you might have been waiting for something to happen with a person or a situation, and it just didn't pan out, where you haven't been able to get together for healing. There has been conflict or transition with someone. It could have been a situation where you wanted third party situations to stop or someone else did. Perhaps this was about a job that you started, but then to no avail, it didn't really work out with your colleagues. There could have been more than one person involved, possibly. You might have said, no, no, it's just you and me, or I have to love myself first in this way. I think it's been hard for you, though. I would just continue to try to let go and shed the old, and continue to heal from any transitions or conflicts and a lack of a homecoming that you've had. I see you doing that moving forward, but with the moon here, it's still making you feel a little insecure. I use this placement a little differently than the crowning thoughts. It's usually considered a crowning thought, what you're thinking about the most. When I do this position in a Celtic cross, it's the advice built into the spread. I ask Spirit, what is the highest version of themselves trying to tell them to do all the time? Your soul is giving you really good advice here, Sagittarius. Your guides are giving you good advice. The first messages I heard were, look, you have choices. There's more than one fish in the sea, but look, he's having a hard time deciding, picking, right? And so your soul is saying, it's okay to do some wishful thinking, but don't live in an illusion. Don't live in a fantasy. There are many opportunities and choices around you. You might be being a little distracted by them all, but just know that you do have more than one choice. And when you examine them all at once, it can be a little overwhelming and confusing. Hyper focus more on the future when you look at all the choices in front of you. The Three of Wands wants expansion and it has a lot of foresight. You plan for the future, you gaze to the horizon, waiting for all your wands to come to you so that you can build into the Four of Wands where you build a foundation. I can see that there's been some conflict here. I think you've been hanging on to some past resentment about a situation, or you're avoiding conflict with a person or a situation. This is where we think about making amends and having a reconciliation within ourselves or with others around us, but we do have some past resentment to hang on to. And I think your soul is saying, you have to think about the future. You have more than one opportunity. When you think of all your choices, which you may not realize you have, think about the future and what you'll do once you make the right choice for you. You don't necessarily have to fight and win at all costs to get what you want. If there's been situations with yourself or someone else in June that have been difficult for you, and there was a convenient contempt, or someone felt like they had to win at all costs, with the Five of Swords, the advice is often, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? If you're the winner, don't gloat. If you're the loser, lick your wounds and go home. It'll heal. Sometimes we do have to fight through things for change. But I think what they're saying to you at this point is, look, let bygones be bygones. Don't scratch your head in anger and hang on to past resentments that just trigger you. Look to your future and know that you have many choices, but watch for wishful thinking and living in a fantasy. When you combine all these choices with what will happen in the future, with whichever one you pick, there shouldn't be that much conflict for you. I think that's what they're trying to tell you. Your actions in June, Two of Wands in reverse. The Two of Wands in the upright's often a card of investment, but it's okay when the Two of Wands flips in the reverse. This is about planning for the future, very much like the Three of Wands, but we have an idea and we see a lot of growth potential. Then we stand still and we make a plan. We want to progress, very much like the Three of Wands, but it's sort of a step back where we have a decision to make. We have more than one path we can choose. We need a little bit more information, a little bit more inspiration. We need to listen to our intuition and discover a little bit more, and then we plan for the future. I'm seeing two cards of watching and waiting, but I think in June you decide, you know what? I don't have much of a plan here with this person or this situation, with work, with a relationship, with whatever. And frankly, I'm a little fearful of the unknown. I think I need to turn back around and focus on inner alignment. I need to know what my own personal goals are and go back to that Ace of Wands so that I can plan and regroup. I'm not feeling quite confident to watch and discover more and pick a path. I need to know a little bit more about what I want and think about all my other choices first, and let go of any past resentments from my past and know that I might even have opportunities much further away than what's right in front of me, even, which is good. But I see her looking back into this hermit like, hey, you've been really withdrawn. Don't be afraid. Let's just focus on our own personal goals here and let go of these things that trigger us, which is a tough moment, but an important one. Sagittarius is very smart and very philosophical. You can be very preoccupied with the truth when you're at your best as well. You come off like an air sign or an Aquarius to me very often. I think you guys will figure this out. I think that this is a good choice, especially to turn around and focus on personal goals for a bit instead of looking at all your other choices. Deep within, hidden factors about yourself that you might not be aware of that you need to be shown. Ace of Wands to the Nine of Swords in reverse. So this makes so much more sense. You're like, I'm not really sure how much growth potential is in a situation. I've had to open up and let a lot of stuff go. And yeah, I've been withdrawn and depressed. Something hurt. I've been in a conflict or in a transition. I've had to move, or I haven't had a homecoming or healing with someone. You might be rethinking your whole soul tribe and you're trying to let go of this resentment and think about the future. So I think deep within, you face some things about yourself that have created a lot of inner turmoil in June. This is about skeletons in our closet and dealing with things that were just kind of a bloody nightmare that stressed us out and worried us. This is where we release worry deep within, deep on an earth soul, in your human form. You're saying, okay, let's go back to the drawing board a little bit. I need to focus on situations in my life that excite me, that inspire me, where there are a lot of growth potential. And I need to release any fear and inner turmoil I have. There are some things that have stressed me out that I really need to address. Yeah, you see a lot of growth potential in something, but there's been some stress and there's been some conflict, and there are things that you need to let go of. And you need to be able to make the most of that solo time that you have with yourself to search your own soul. Once you heal, from whatever this pain you've gone through has been. This can be healing from a health issue, it's a deep wound, it's betrayal, loss, or crisis. Again, don't avoid the painful ending. That might be part of what's happening here. You could see a lot of growth potential in a situation, but if you've been so back and forth and you've needed to just let go with the back and forth, this Two of Wands in reverse is the key, I think, focusing on your personal goals. It's very smart. It's classic Sagittarius move. I love it. I don't know that all the other fire signs would approach it that way. Don't tell them I told you that, though. I love Leo and Aries. They just approach things differently. So in your environment, this could be your response to the environment, or I mean for this to be a person around you. I've got a Queen of Swords showing up. Queen of Swords to the Star in reverse, Seven of Swords, the World in reverse. So you could be dealing with an air sign, a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but not necessarily they could be coming off like that, or that's your response to them. But how I read this is a person around you, someone you're thinking about that's important. This person could have been dealing with an Aquarius, a Gemini, a fixed sign. They themselves could be an air sign, or they're coming off like that. I think this person's kind of turned their back to you, or you've been very direct with them. The Queen of Swords is very independent. She is very unbiased judgment, but she has very clear boundaries and she's a very direct person. She has a heart, but she won't show it. This person feels the need to be somewhat detached and honest, but it can come off a little icy. They might have been dealing with an Aquarius, possibly, but not necessarily. The Star in reverse is a person in their feelings for you. They feel a little disconnected. They're not wishing on a star. This isn't their wish come true. This isn't their dream come true. This person doesn't feel positive and motivated and free. They might have been very direct with you, or you've had to be very direct with them, and that this just wasn't your wish come true, or it's not their wish come true. This person might need more healing. If something painful has happened between the two of you, or there's been any kind of a triangulation, this person needs more healing. They don't have peace and happiness, and feel good about the situation. And furthermore, they're being pretty strategic. They feel the need to sort of sneak away from you, or they are not able to be entirely honest. They feel the need to sort of slink away from this in some way. Communication might not be very good with this person. The world in reverse, a lot of tarot readers are very dramatic and they're like, oh, it's not over with this person. Well, it may or may not be. This is something somewhat unrequited. This person has left the cycle between the two of you stagnant. And this could be you watching them like, I'm waiting. You could be the Queen of Swords here, and you don't feel a lot of hope in the situation at this point because this person might have just slunk off and left the cycle completely unfinished between the two of you. For whatever reason, they're feeling pretty disconnected and insecure. So, again, this could be how you're responding to them, or this is sort of their response to you where they kind of turn their back. They could be focused on a Aquarius or Gemini, Libra here, possibly. And that's just sort of how they're coming off. In your emotions, your hopes and fears, I think you guys are afraid of having to really walk away from something because you're not sure if you'll be able to get over it. Or you're feeling like, I just have to completely walk away and not look back over my shoulder about anything that's disappointed me or I've had to abandon. Sometimes the Eight of Cups is about escapism, but when she's done, she's done. This person's done. Some of you are having a hard time walking away. You're afraid. You might be avoiding an inevitable, painful ending. But because the Two of Wands is in reverse, I don't think so. I think you're like, in June over a situation, you're like, okay, I will walk away from the past. Even if you fix a relationship or a situation with a person, this is good. This means you're all done with what happened previously. And you're focused on the positive now and not the negative. This was just a personal setback. You can forgive yourself and you can move on. You might be afraid to do that. You can do it. You can do it. Once you focus more on your own personal goals and you release any anxiety that you feel and you look more for situations that have growth potential, it will help you, especially when you listen to your own soul and you're like, I have more than one choice here. I can't do wishful thinking and live in an illusion, and I have to watch out for anything triggering me, but I have opportunities. I have more. I am seeing a couple threes here, so this could have involved some third party stuff or more than one choice, perhaps. It's general, so I can't tell for sure. But the moon is what we're ending on. I would work very hard to get this card into the reverse. The moon is when we operate out of a place of vagueness and out of a place of instability or illusion. Things are not as they appear to be when the moon is in the upright. We feel insecure, we distrust something, we strain to see something that confuses us. The moon can often be about blind love. I see two cards of illusion here and very, very wishful thinking. Very much so. So for some of you, you're having a hard time letting go of a situation that you're having. The moon is something when we believe someone's hiding something from us, or it's something that we hide from ourselves. Allow your repressed emotions to bubble to the surface, Sagittarius. Allow yourself to face the future with some uncertainty. We have a past, present, and a future here on planet Earth, and we're not always meant to know the future. Listen to your intuition. Do not operate out of a place of illusion. And be careful to, blindly follow into a situation where you're feeling insecure and it's confusing you. I would face anything that you're having a hard time facing, and I would listen to your intuition. You will feel a heightened sense of intuition in June. Work to get the moon into the reverse, where you accept uncertainty moving forward. You accept the truth of situations, blindly love no one except yourself. The only person you should love is you. Don't blindly love a situation or a person, and don't pretend it's something it's not. You definitely have choices. You definitely have to look at the future. It's okay to have some uncertainty. If you're committed to your personal goals and walking away and creating closure for yourself, you're going to be just fine. Just remember to surrender to that which you cannot control, and they want you to just release baggage that you can't carry on your own. And if someone else can't make up their mind, that's their problem, not yours. And if you're having a hard time figuring out what to do in a situation, open up, get around your soul tribe, think of a future that's worth expanding on, Allow for reconciliations and let go of past resentment and know you have many choices. You are a fish in a stream and you're usually pretty resilient. All right, Sag, so that's your reading for June 2020. I hope it resonates with you. I hope it helps you. Book a private reading with me through the website if you want to work with me personally. Don't forget to check out Soma, Chandra, Libra. It's kind of Sagittarius Nation over there. I should call it Soma, Chandra, Sagittarius, but don't tell the Libras I told you that because it's kind of their channel. But I read for you guys there a lot. Okay, Sag, I'm always listening to the universe for you. I really love you guys. I'll see you next time.